Hello everyone, it is Jacob with another update of the build. This will probably be the last update of this season because there's Path of Exile League starting tomorrow. I'm going to be playing that. But if you want to see any gameplay of the build, check the previous video with a sneak peek. The gameplay is the same. The character since yesterday just got a little bit stronger. I swapped a few things, but the gameplay is in general the same. I will show you a mapping build, I will show you what I would swap for boss build, and then I will show you some possible future upgrades, just to give you an idea where to aim the build to. I have two different approaches. One is from min-maxed ARPG, and the other one I screenshotted from someone playing the same build on Asia servers. He did Supreme Showdown level 21 on it, so it is possible. So yeah, just let's hop into it. I will go over the gear, over skills, over pretty much everything again. So in this version, I'm pretty much copying min-max build, or copying, taking a lot of information from his document and from his streams and from his characters and build codes. I will try to explain why the things are in the build and how they interact with each other. So yeah, Energy Shield Helmet. Pretty much all the pieces that I have are Energy Shield, or at least the rare ones. And then I have Evasion Gloves and Evasion Boots. So you need to get physical damage mitigation somewhere. So base affix on the Energy Shield Helmet converts 15% physical damage taken to cold damage. And you want to have the same amount on the armor as well. So if you put this to tier 0, it can go up to 20%. So all together on those two items you have 35% physical damage conversion into cold. Then intelligence or skill levels, both would work. Not skill levels, intelligence, or what was the second one? Only intelligence on helmet, okay. So intelligence, energy shield, block ratio. If you are playing it on budget and you are just starting building it, either block ratio or barrier shield, whatever you roll first, just stick with that and focus on other items. Once you get all the items done, then you start swapping into the more preferable mods, which block ratio would be the one on this piece, because we are block capped. And block ratio is basically, once you get blocked cap, 100% block chance, block ratio is flat damage reduction. So block ratio there. Affliction, reaping cooldown recovery, and support skill levels. Support skill levels are all these that you have on all auras as well. So once you get that mod, you have the possibility to reduce points in talent trees that are slotted into sealed mana compensation, because the restrain gains extra levels, so you reserve less mana to open some points, which I didn't do yet. I didn't respec my reservation points, but I believe I could now. If I fiddle with the skill, if I fiddled with the skills a little, or maybe if I even put the amulet mod with reservation to tier 0. So yeah, affliction on the helmet, affliction on pretty much every piece, because in talent 3 we are using this escalating affliction ethereal prison, which gives us convert of affliction effect into additional damage over time. So we are stuck in affliction effect on pretty much every piece just to get more from the prism. So that would be the helmet. And on the amulet, you want to get an amulet with 10 base element damage. Definitely need that base. Or you need to get a base with corruption curse and then dreamcraft the base element damage on it. Like, you need to have these two mods on the amulet basically. Another way of getting the corruption curse would be through pact spirits, but that's not cheap, so this should be cheaper. Base element damage we need because we are using dirty tricks, and those basically provide us with stacking additional damage 6% for every ailment, and we are inflicting all the ailments thanks to the base element damage on the amulet. And mods on the amulet, intelligence, intelligence or spell aggression. I have both here, but I could swap one of those into active skill levels. So intelligence or spell aggression, then active skill levels would be the best mod here. Max energy shield, sealed mana compensation, just to be able to you needed the compensation on the amulet to be able to slot the affliction escalation into your lich tree. So you are losing off the beaten track. So you need the sealed mana compensation to be able to reserve all the auras. And then double resistances, that just to get to a decent resistance values. You don't need to be resistance capped, just get enough resistances to feel tanky enough for the content that you are doing. Maximum resistances for the build as is right now is 60%. You could do like plus 5% maximum elemental resistances implicit on the armor, for example, then it would jump to 65, but I'm not capping even, so that is that. Easy way of capping for harder content, if you would want to do and you would be willing to sacrifice some damage, would be swapping one aura to elemental resistance aura. Now let's check the armor. That's the piece that I crafted today. So I'm running aura effect base, but other bases that you could go for would be just armor, intelligence, this. Other bases that you could go for, like elemental erosion resistance penetration, armor damage mitigation penetration, aura effect, physical damage taken converted to cold, or the plus 5% maximum elemental resistances. All these mods would bring you pretty good value. The aura effect was the cheapest, so that's the one I got. Then you want to get attack and block chance somewhere, because you want to get block cap eventually. So I'm 100% on attack block chance and 92% on spell block chance. Around 95% is enough to pretty much block everything. And once you get to those levels of block chance, you want to start scaling block ratio, which I have 13% from the helmet, and I have 3% on slates, I believe. You can get that to like 60% or 60% damage reduction eventually, if you would want to go there. So block chance, then the damage conversion for the physical damage reduction. Here energy shield, just so you have some base energy shield to scale the survivability from, because on the old armor that I had, that one got like almost 600 ES. So that's that. Then reaping cooldown recovery, because we are not having reaping cooldown recovery on our weapons, we need to get it somewhere else. So reaping cooldown recovery here on the armor, and then double resistances just to get them going. I have rip cooldown recovery on the helmet as well. And then I have rip cooldown recovery on the ring, which I will show you now. You want to get Entangled Pain Curse on the ring, and you want to get it as a base affix, not a Dreamcraft, because you want to save 2 Dreamcrafts for your weapons, where you will be trying to get maximum blessings on both. So, and that's specifically for Thea. If you are playing the same build on like Yuga or some other character, you do not need to stack blessings, but on Thea specifically, she scales from stacking blessings, so that's what you are going for on both weapons. So Entangled Pain as a base affix, then maximum blessing, block chance, max energy shield. Yeah, you could get multiple blessings here as well if you would like get the block chance somewhere else, or if you would be willing to sacrifice creep cooldown recovery, and you could go for double blessings on the ring as well. But yeah, rip cooldown recovery in the suffixes, affliction effect, because you can roll it there, and then fire resistance. Just balance the resistances out so you have enough of each. Then for mapping I'm running Restless Glacier Ring, because that makes everything explode, or everything that you freeze explodes. And I have guaranteed freeze on a first hit through my pedigree, which I will show you later. So yeah, this provides the build with explode, and it's also like the combination of the pedigree and the ring also provides me with the reset on my movement skill throughout the map. That's why I can blink so often while mapping. Then on the weapons, you want to get blessings on both, preferably as a base affix as well. Yeah, additional damage over time ones are cheaper, or scepters are cheaper, so I went with that. Then I managed to roll Agility Blessing on it. And then as on sequences, you would want to get... I failed 6 sequences today, but you would want to get this movement speed when standing on a Terra skill. You are always standing on the Terra skill, so this would be always up. And then 100% skill area when standing on a Terra skill, so it's again 100% skill area. For clear, you would want to get this one on both scepters, and for damage, I would prefer to get this one on one scepter and then Deep Pain Aura effect on the other one. So it's for sequences. And for mods, stack max Terra charges to a level where you are able to like regenerate all of them before casting, before your medium instruction procs. So at 1.7 seconds with my setup, I'm like barely able to recharge all 6 charges, as you can see. Sometimes it jumps to 6, sometimes it doesn't. So that is that. So for upgrading my weapons, once I would get max Terra charges to tier 0 here, which would give me +3, then I would swap the max Terra charges on the other weapon to plus spell skill levels. That would be my swap once I upgrade one of those max Terra charges to tier 0 as the future step. So max Terra charges, then either erosion skill level or intelligence, and definitely a reap source. Max Terra quantity, because each Terra quantity gives you like double the value of your max Terra charges. If we check the skill. So for every +1 max Terra quantity, you get this plus 26% additional damage twice. So you basically, for every +1 max Terra quantity, you get 52% additional damage. Or that's at least how I understand the math behind this. So I have +1 max Terra quantity on each weapon. And then I'm stacking the max Terra stacks to get more. So that is that. Then reap duration and affliction effect. And for the reap duration, I'm trying to keep these two numbers similar. They were around 450 each, but I had to swap some of my Pact Spirit nodes to get more resistances. So that's why this is under 400 now, but yeah, around 400 for each should be fairly like good once you get there. So those would be the mods. On the other weapon, as I said, again, like +1 blessing, preferably, and then intelligence or erosion skill level, then +3 spell skills, or plus spell skills, reap, max quantity, max Terra quantity, reap duration, and affliction effect. For the unique items, I'm still running the same belt. I only changed the blending affix to +1 max tenacity blessings. You could go for dirty tricks, for example, which would allow you to swap this 3 into something else, which you can check in min-max ARPG's builds. But I'm running with this for now, because this is cheap, while the dirty tricks would cost like 2k or 1k to craft. Okay, for the boots, I corroded them myself and failed miserably. I had like 140% damage over time and rerolled it to this. But you want to get Valeries because they provide you with never-ending blur. So you get a lot of defense. You have high chance of evading damage completely with blur. Then it provides you with stealth step, which provides you with 25% additional damage taken while blur is active. So this buff is always up. And I'm not sure about the second part because I think the blur never ends. So probably to proc this, we would have to get. Are we able to check these? To get the second part of the buff from the boots, we would have to get stuff in the back. So we would lose blur and immediately regain it back. So we would get 35% additional damage from this and 25% from the boots. But I don't have that, so I don't have that on my pedigree, but if I was saving up for a new pedigree, I would definitely try to get one with stuff in the back on it. So that's for the boots. Better boots to get in the future would probably be these Lone Walker boots with Deep Pain Aura. Those are going for around 10k if you go for the cheap ones. So yeah, that would allow you to swap one aura, because you would get the deep pain from the boots. So you would be able to swap a deep pain aura here to like either the resistance aura or, for example, a steadfast aura to get more armor and more physical damage reduction. Or you could add spell amplification while keeping corrosion focus for even more damage. That would also be an option. Okay. That's for the boots. And for the gloves, these gloves provide you with insane amounts of damage if you set up the build right. So uncorrupted, these ones uncorrupted would give you like up to 22% additional spell damage for each type of crowd control effect, which we are inflicting frost, paralysis, knockback, weaken, slow, blind. The only crowd control effect that I'm not inflicting would be taunt, but there would be a setup where you could put it in as well, which I used in like past season or the season before that. But yeah, you are inflicting all the other ones. And you also need to make sure that you have a source of intimidating enemies. And we are achieving this through this Pact Spirit Kismet, Tiger Roar, which gives you 100% chance to inflict Intimidated on hit. Tiger Roar is going for around 1k, I believe. Yeah, 1.5 even. It went up a bit. But yeah, you need that to pair it with the gloves for them to work. And then you need to have a source of the crowd control effects as well, which I will go over the sources eventually as I get there. So that's for the gear. Now for the skills. As for the sources of the crowd control effects, Shadow Swamp on its base gives you enemies on Swamp Terra are weakened. So that's a source of weaken. Then you have a source of knockback on a black hole. So that's 2 of those there. Then you have cold damage and frigid transmission as well, which provides you with cold damage source. So you inflict frostbite on enemies. But yeah, let's go over the skills. Shadow Swamp with activation medium instruction. Try to get higher roll on the damage one, and then like some manageable roll on the activation time. 1.7 seconds with my setup is around like enough to get to 6 charges, but I'm dropping to 5 eventually. And you might consider changing the ground divide into Cataclysm, because the affliction effect would get like 30% additional effect, which our affliction effect is converted into damage over time modifier. So this would provide you probably with more damage, but you would have to get enough Terra charge regeneration to be able to recharge the charges to as many stacks as possible before it gets triggered through your medium instruction. So somewhere around 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 seconds is right around enough here. And passivation provides you with extra additional erosion damage, which works on full life enemies pretty much. And as the life of the enemies gets lower, you get less value from this. But on mapping scenario where everything pretty much dies really quickly, you want to get the first reap to be as big as possible, which the passivation provides that. Gushing Spring, okay. Gushing Spring provides you with additional damage. Try to level both of the special skill supports to level 5, which will provide you with even more additional damage. And then Ground Divide gives you +1 max Terra charge, and then it gives you Terra charge restoration speed. and some additional damage modifier. The Terra charge restoration speed is really important here, so you do not have to roll it on any of your gear pieces. Like, you can roll Terra charge restoration speed on your ring, for example, if you would want to like experiment with that. Stillwater, that's what makes the swamp to attach to you, so it follows you as you run around. So that's the core support here. Also provides you with additional damage. For a mapping movement skill, I'm using Frigid Transmission with Rip Agony. For bossing, if I want to keep a movement skill, I'm using Speed Phantom. And you can either keep Rip in Agony or go for cooldown reduction if you need to like move more often during the boss fight. And if you do not need a movement skill at all, you can take Star Stalker with similar setup to Black Hole, so you would use Activation Medium Elite with cooldown reduction and well-fought battle, for example. Either well-fought battle or Mass Effect. So that would be for this slot. Then in either scenario, like either mapping or bossing, Black Hole provides you with additional damage and a knockback source for the gloves. Activation Medium Elite with as high roll on cooldown recovery speed as possible. And then like somewhere around 12 meters proc is like almost the entire screen. So yeah, if you want to the Black Hole to proc like closer to you, then go with lower number here. If you don't care on where it procs on the screen, then you can go with 20 meters. But keep in mind that your that your Shadow Swamp is attached to you and has limited radius, so you most likely would want to proc the Black Hole somewhere closer to you rather than on the edge of the screen. Then cooldown reduction, so it can proc as often as possible, and Reap in Agony, just like another source of like instant damage, which Reap is. Path of Flames, sort of another support skill. While we are channeling this, we are generating instructions through Activation Medium channel. You definitely want to get this one with 1 stack per second. So make sure that it has that, like make sure that it is not like every 2 seconds or for every 2 stacks channeled. You want to have the one here. Otherwise you would deal like less damage. Guard provides us with barrier. Whenever the barrier falls off or gets broken, if you are channeling, it pops right up. Path of Flame Spontaneous provides you with additional damage multiplier for anything that stands on the Path of Flames, which Path of Flames basically does this fire behind you. So while monsters are standing in it, they get 25% additional damage. And then, just because we have the energy, Reap in Agony as another source of instant damage. Now for the 5th active slot, Haunting Abomination would be the cheap option here, because it procs on hit effects, so it freezes monsters, so it resets your Frigid Transmission while mapping. You can also use blinding support, so you have a source of blind for your gloves here. Then you have Haunting Abomination Feud, which basically whatever stands in the Haunting Abomination gets additional damage multiplier applied to it. So additional damage taken by the enemy selected by the supported skill. And then Reap in Agony, again another source of Reap. If you do not have motionless, you can simply use another activation medium instruction with whatever time here. You would just not cast it as often, but with the motionless, it basically gets cast if you are standing or whenever you use your movement skill. Another option here would be what is it called? Shackles of Malice. That would not be cheap, because Shackles of Malice has a support that would provide you with extra effect of your curses. So that would be this one. No. This one. But these ones are not cheap. So if you have the budget, I would definitely give this a try, because like 40% additional curse effect is a lot while you are running 2 curses. Or if you would want to go a defensive route, then you could swap Haunting Abomination to Frostera and use this Frostera Snowshell, which would provide you with continuous energy shield recovery while you would be standing on the Frostera. It would look like this, and your energy shield would keep regenerating when you would be standing on that, and it gets recast like as you move through the map. So once you get enough damage, consider taking this just to keep yourself alive. You would then have to swap the blinding onto your frigid transmission instead of quick mobility, for example, just to have a chance to inflict blinding somewhere. For the passive skills, domain expansion, try to get a support that allows you to run all the auras. So just keep in mind that if you use like some higher cost support, like minus 40% sealed mana, you might have to fiddle with the auras, or you might need to spend more points into sealed mana compensation to be able to run stronger supports. But for my setup, I'm running Aura Amp, Precise Malleable, which provides me with aura effect when there's an elite nearby, but reduces the aura effect when there is no elite nearby. But yeah, trash mobs like white mobs are dying quickly anyway, and you want to have the extra damage for the yellow monsters in the map. Then corrosion focus. Since I do not have, or I do not want to spend all my points into seal compensation, I'm running corrosion focus with corrosion focus infection, which corrosion focus provides me with additional erosion damage and on hit effect as well. So it is freezing monsters as well and inflicting wild and such. And the focus buff also increases the additional erosion damage I get from it to like 26% or something, maybe even 30. So yeah, you get around 26% additional erosion damage from this, and also some elemental and erosion resistance penetration. Focus acceleration, just so it procs more often to keep this up as much as possible. Another option, if you would invest more points into seal compensation, you could swap that to precise spell amp instead and use the same setup as I have on the other auras, pretty much. The third passive skill, erosion amplification, additional erosion damage, and for the last skill, which is sealed on life, seal conversion allows you to seal that on life, and then aura effect. If I would want to get more aura effect into that, I would get rid of the Reap on either Path of Flames or Reaping Agony, and you could put it on the Aura instead. That would allow you to put in Aura Amplification like this. You would get 13% more Aura effect from Deep Pain. But yeah, I like the source of the Reap a little bit more, because the instant damage that comes to monsters just kills them. So yeah, on bosses, getting more Deep Pain effect might be better. Or more Aura effect to whatever aura you have reserved on this slot. So that's for the skills. Now for the passives, Goddess of Deception stayed the same. All three of these passives would be great, so if you can get one of those on Pedigree, just pick whatever here. All of them would provide you with extra damage, while the most damage comes from Deceiver's Might, and the second most would be from Forbidden Power, but that's for the cost of 10% elemental resistance. Here, the only useful one is the Affliction, so I'm using that. The tree looks like this. Persistent skill level, yeah, self-explanatory. Psychic, the second tree. Windwalk for map clear, because it provides you with a huge amount of instant damage whenever you inflict maximum affliction stacks, which takes like 0.25 seconds for anything. And then you have 80% additional reaping duration for 4 seconds. But for prolonged boss fights, the better notes to take here would be more with less instead, because this one would fall off after 4 seconds. But for mapping, Windwalk is the better choice here. And then the 3, I'm focusing on defenses. So if you are having the damage nodes wherever and you are dying, let's go for the defense. And affliction effect wherever possible. I did not have enough points left to get the affliction effect here, because I needed more seal compensation, so I took the points from here and put them there. This point gains 1 stack of Focus Blessing when reaping. You do not need it on Thea 3, because you are generating blessings every 2 seconds, and whenever you generate blessing, your hero trait gets procced. So the only thing that would provide this point to your build would be putting your hero trait to everything all the time, because you are reaping all the time. So you would have your hero trait up on every rare, but that's not really necessary, because most of the rares die anyway. So yeah, this point better used somewhere else instead. Then you definitely want to get this chance to gain blur when reaping, because that pairs with your boots. So whenever you generate a blur, it gets reset thanks to the boots. So we can check it here in my buffs. I get blur here, and whenever I generate a new one, it gets reset. As you can see, it is jumping from like 70 to 100 all the time whenever it procs, basically. And that's what the boot do. That's what the boot do. Refreshes blur up on gaining blur every 1 second. So yeah. So a source of blur here. These points before that are useful as well. Reaping duration is more instant damage. And then you want to take this one for the torment, which is like additional damage multiplier, 15%. Then I'm running Lich. Until you get enough sealed mana compensation, you want to run without the escalating affliction, and you want to take off the beaten track here to be able to run all your auras. You could have seen that in the previous videos. And once you get enough reservation, you can slot. Before that, just slot whatever prism to this slot here, because what that allows you to do is take this +1 all skill node and not having to take the 6 nodes that are before that, which are pretty much useless. Those are like damage here and cast speed in this one, and that's 6 points that you can use somewhere else. So yeah, in the future, once I get dirty tricks on my belt or pedigree, I would consider either reselecting this entire tree and put in the node into the other tree, or putting it into warlock tree and taking the stuff in the back node, which I showed you before in the video. Then yeah, more defense, affliction effect, even more defense, and here we have additional damage. There's not many sources of additional damage, so taking that wherever possible, and then seal compensation, just put in as many points as you need to be able to reserve your auras. The last three for me for now would be warlock, because I need the dirty tricks for the, how much is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for like 42% additional damage. So yeah, that's probably the strongest node you can get if you are able to inflict all the ailments, which we are thanks to our amulet. And the tree also is not that weak, provides you with paralyze, which is another source of crowd control effect, so it scales our gloves, and it also provides us with 15% damage multiplier. Then you have additional damage against cursed enemies, additional damage, like, yeah, is scarce. And if you are lacking like blind, which I have on one of my skill supports, or you do not have a source of slow on your slates, then you can get both in this tree here for 4 points or 5 points if you would need to go for both. So you can get slow and blind here as well, while getting paralyzed in here. And then affliction effect and some defense. So all in all, fairly efficient tree. Considering you don't need to roll all these like on your slates, or you do not have to use grudge support on your skills. So yeah, but if you would want to like scale the build even further, then swapping this entire tree to something else, either more defensive or more offensive, would be an option as well. For Statue of the God, for mapping, you want to get a pedigree with Frostbitten. If you can get Frostbitten with something that would provide you with more damage, and go for it, because that would let you clear your maps faster. I just did not bother, so I have only Frostbitten on mine. And then you want to get 4 blessings, which would be focus blessings and mana regen, tenacity blessing, focus blessing, and agility blessing. So that's 4 blessings that you can get on your slates, so get them there, because Thea free scales with those. And then you want to get a source of elemental damage on one of your slates, which I have here. I also bought a slate that has it with the focus blessing, and then I randomly rolled this one, so I'm using that one instead. But once I get the copy slates, like Prairie and Mods, then I have this slate ready for it. Then you want to get Frail, if possible, which is 15% additional damage. And if you can get slow, then great. If you cannot, you can take slow in the 3, but try to get slow on one of those slates as well. And then try to get additional damage rolls wherever possible. Do I have any? I don't. But the additional damage nodes would look like I have them here. So additional damage when having both sealed mana and life, or additional damage against cursed enemies, or additional damage after using mobility skill, and you want to have those on the bottom, on the last talent mod on the slate, is because you would want to copy them through the copy slates. And other possible options would also be like skill level, and those would be spell skill level or erosion skill level or persistent skill level. All three would scale our Shadow Swamp, so you would want to get those three as well. And additional damage after using mobility skill. Okay, like that. So I will go over them like this. So Focus Blessing and Regeneration, Focus Blessing, Tenacity Blessing, Agility Blessing. Then Elemental damage, because you need a source of cold damage somewhere, and lightning damage as well to be able to inflict numbed. Possible slow. If you don't have that, you can take that in the 3. But you want to get these ones, basically. So, yeah. So that's for the slates. For boss in pedigree, I have an alternative here, which has full load on it, just to get more damage, because I do not need frostbitten while bossing, so I'm having full load here. But you can also get other mods here, like full load and dirty tricks, for example. And the other mods that you would want to get would be in this list. Like pretty much anything on this list would help you. I will go over slowly. Stab in the back will be one of the main ones if you keep using Valerie's boots. Okay. All these would provide you with either more damage or more survivability. Okay, that's for that. For Pact Spirits, Portrait of Fallen Saints for erosion penetration, Abyssal King for reaping cooldown recovery, and then I'm running Poisoned Omen, so I can cast one additional curse. If you do not have Poison Omen and need a source of additional curse, you can actually get it on your Escalating Affliction Prism. And to get that, you would want to get one that would look like this. That would have this mod on it. And those are going for around 900 FEs. So when activating 2 legendary medium talent nodes within the area, you can cast one additional curse. So if you would use it, or if you would put it on the same place that it is right now, and just take these 4 nodes as well, you would have 2 legendary nodes taken here, and you would get +1 additional curse. The other possibility to put this on would be here in Psychic Tree on this node, which would save you 3 points, and you would take these 2 legendary nodes that would provide you with additional curse. So that's probably the cheapest way. The other option would be getting dirty tricks somewhere, so you could take verbal abuse or get in verbal abuse on your pedigree. That's another way how to get +1 additional curse. And you want to get that mod because we are running 1 curse on our amulet and 1 curse on our ring. And for the Pact Spirit nodes, I'm running Reaping Duration wherever possible. Then I'm running Tiger Roar for the gloves. And then just to fix my resistances, I slotted a few of fire resistance and cold resistance nodes here just to get to above 50%. And that's that. For hero memories, I got block chance everywhere, as you can see. And this block chance sadly rolled the mineral. So that's why I'm not spell blocked capped. But yeah. And try to get skill area for better clear. Or you can go for a reap duration or a reap cooldown recovery speed for more damage. But the skill area provides you with survivability on bosses as well, because you can keep your distance. Yeah, the only nodes that I'm swapping from time to time from the hero trait would be these 2. This is great if you like to get a little bit more movement speed, because it provides you with 15% movement speed whenever you hit the desecrated target. While this node provides you with erosion resistance and some extra damage. But yeah, erosion resistance, we do not have that anywhere else, so 15% here is nice. If you would get red memories instead of yellow ones, you would get 20% here, and you would get, and if you would get red one with plus levels to trade level, you could get even 30% erosion resistance here. So yeah, great node for erosion resistance. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm sorry for fairly long video, but there was a lot of things to go through. Now I will show you, or I will put codes in the description of the video. I will put a link to min-maxed ARPG's document as well. Both of these are min-maxed ARPG setups which I took inspiration from. And now I will also show on the screen a picture that I used as a reference from the player that plays the build on China. So let's hop into here. Sorry for the not that good quality. I hope that it will be possible to read. But yeah, I was screenshotting to Discord, so the quality there wasn't that great either. So you can see that this person on the Asia server has an armor helmet and has Lone Walker's boots. And thanks to those two, he also is using Steadfast Aura. So he has a lot of armor, so he doesn't need the physical damage taken as cold damage on the helmet and the armor, so it allows him to use different mods. Thanks to the fact that he has a lot of armor, and he also uses that armor to mitigate non-physical damage, so he takes less erosion and elemental damage as well, thanks to all the armor sources that he has. He also does not stack Terra Quantity, and instead he decided to use Mother Goddess Paddock Amulet, which provides you with additional affliction effect and reap. Other than that, he uses pretty much the same setup, and he is using Warden as his third 3 to get more value from block and to get block chance from the tree, so he doesn't have to get it on his slates. But yeah, other than that, I will just move it like this. These are the skill setups. He's running the Shackles of Malice, which I talked about. So that's the curse effect. And he's running Frost Terra for regeneration. And he is running 5 auras. So he has Steadfast, he has Erosion Amp, Domain Expansion Spell Amp, and then he has the Deep Pain on the precise Deep Pain on the boots. For slates, since he has the unique amulet, he doesn't have a source of ailment damage, which we have on our amulet, so he has to get those on his slates. So you can note, you can see that he has like he has Frostbite here, and there was a source of trauma damage right here. He has Stab in the back on the pedigree and full load, which is a lot of damage. It's like 35% and 40%. So it's a lot of damage there. So yeah, he's not stacking as many blessings. He also has this negative on the helmet, which is screwing his damage a lot, but he was able to clear Supreme Showdown level 21 with this, so kudos to him. Or her, I have no idea. It would be his trees. If you would want to like get access to this picture, I have it on my Discord, so you can take it there as well. Other than that, I will put the links in the description of the video. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you next season. Bye!